Dutton Ranch, Season 1, Episode 3, Act of God Business. Episode 3 of Dutton Ranch begins with Beth awakening to find Rip downstairs, dressed and making coffee. She questions why he wasn't in bed, and Rip shrugs it off, claiming he has stuff on his mind. Beth is heading off to Dallas for a big meeting to find prospective buyers for their meat. Before she goes, the pair make sure to keep their promise of going for a ride together. This meeting is a big deal, and en route Beth drives down to see Claudio, picking up her meat. Things are tough for his business right now, but Beth promises to try and turn his fortunes with their ranch. With the meat in a cooler, Beth then heads to her meeting with Giles Moore. His staff are run ragged, and half of them aren't happy about the short-changed tips either. Beth senses an opportunity and speaks to one of the disgruntled workers. Beth wants her to add one perfectly grilled rib eye to the family meal, promising to double the shortfall if she does. With the ribeye in hand, Beth makes a good impression to Moore and explains that she's about to set out and make deals with others if he doesn't play ball. This is still a pretty dicey situation though, as Beth is reminded that she's up against a Frontier Hospitality group. Furthermore, a guy called Zane Nash is difficult. Beth shrugs it off, confident she can handle it. That night, Joaquin shows up at the bar and introduces himself as a problem solver. He's obviously part of the Jacksons' inner circle, and Beth isn't about to do business with them anytime soon. However, she is quite pleased that Beulah has mentioned her once or twice. Speaking of which, Beulah delivers a speech at Ellis Logan's funeral. All his fellow cops are there too, and she tells stories about the past and how integral he was to the community. Interestingly, Everett is also in attendance in the graveyard. Everett catches up with Beulah. It seems like they have history, especially when she mentions how she misses him. He simply retorts, "Well, take care," and walks away. With Everett gone, Sheriff Wade speaks to Beulah about the rumblings currently going on regarding Wes Ayers' disappearance. He tells her to keep the bunkhouse under control. Meanwhile, Carter meets with Orina, who continues to bemoan her situation with Hoyt. Carter decides to urinate all over his truck to impress Orina, while she decides to smash up the truck afterwards. Hoyt promises to come after them as the pair drive off. However, they're stopped by the cops soon after on the road. Wade warns that Orina is making way too much noise and tells them that if they continue to stir up trouble, he's going to put them both in handcuffs. That night, they sit together at Orina's place, where she encourages Carter to smoke weed with her. They eventually start kissing afterwards. Out on the ranch, Rip is called out to the fields, where he finds a distressed cow suffering from foot and mouth disease. Everett confirms the diagnosis when he drives out and warns that it could spread through his ranks like wildfire if he's not careful. Rip mulls over whether this might be the new bull that he bought. That's a huge problem, especially as Beth is in the middle of setting up meetings regarding their perfect livestock. Rip acts fast, tasking Azul and Zach to quarantine the herd and put a pasture in between them. They're going to camp out for a few days and keep an eye on all this to make sure it doesn't get worse. While this is going on, Beulah receives a call from Mariano, reminding her that they need no surprises as business is about to pick up. These surprises, of course, come from Wes' disappearance and the continued rumblings with Whitney sniffing around asking questions. Beulah decides to head over and pay her a visit. Only, when she gets there, she finds the door is unlocked and Whitney is gone up at the ranch. Anna Dupree shows up with a gun, pointed at Zachariah. Rip tries to mediate the situation, especially as Anna mentions that Zach killed her daughter, Teresa. Everett eventually takes Anna away, while Rip warns Zachariah that he better be repenting for what he's done. That night, around the campfire, Zach explains that he and Teresa were madly in love. They got into an argument, and he was drunk. He tried to run away, but he accidentally put his truck in reverse and ran her over. Azul claims it was an accident, but Zach has been eaten up by the guilt around this all this time. Rio Paloma has a long memory, and her death hit the community hard. As a result, Zach was looked at as the devil. Off the back of this, Everett says goodbye to Rip, pointing out he's a good man that's done terrible things. Beth then rings, pointing out she's secured the deal, but of course they still have the situation involving the cattle to contend with. Rip urges her to head home as soon as she can. When Beth heads back, she and Rip both realize with horror that the foot and mouth disease is spread. The episode review: given the wealth of mediocre and underwhelming shows on TV right now, it's a breath of fresh air to watch Dutton Ranch. It is, by far, the best show on TV right now. The character work is excellent across the board, and we actually get some agency from the female characters without turning them into physically demanding girl bosses. Beth and Beulah are both powerhouses in their own right, and they're out to protect their own, no matter what. The drama involving Carter and Orina is interesting too because on the surface, it looks like a simple romance filler line. However, given the ties between both these families and how ugly the conflict is likely to get, it's interesting to see them start to become entangled together. This episode in particular has serious highs and lows. We see how adept Beth is at striking these business deals, and she's definitely not to be trifled with. However, despite securing some good deals, they have a serious problem on their hand with this foot and mouth disease outbreak that could cause serious problems for their cattle, and it's likely it started from that bull they bought at the auction point. One of the standout parts of the episode, though, stems from Zach and the background surrounding his character. From a few simple dialogues, we understand exactly why he's vilified by the community. It's a heartbreaking story, but it also reinforces how these small communities stick together and can turn on a dime. It's a horrible death, no doubt, and it explains why Zach turned to the Lord for forgiveness. Hearing Rip empathize with him and understand his plight helps his character a lot too. However, with the disease now spreading and everything tightening around the Duttons, where will our characters go from here? A.